when we get problems like this, we have to start and we try to interpret what the problem's telling us to do. So we go ahead and start from the left, and we have a negative 2, which is when it's the absolute value of that negative 2, we get the amplitude of a 2. And then we move on, and we have the 3x, and to get the period, we do 2 pi divided by the 3 that multiplies the x, which gives us a period of 2 pi divided by 3. Then the next thing we come to is the phase shift, and the phase shift is the next term, which would be pi over 2, and since it's a plus pi over 2, that means we're shifting it to the left, so we put it in as a negative pi over 2, and then we divide it by the term multiplying the x, which is a 3. So we have negative pi over 2 over 3, which equals, in the end, negative pi over 6. And then the last term in the sequence is a negative 1, which gives us a vertical shift of negative 1. So then after doing the cosine graph, we know that we have a period of 2 pi over 3, and we know that because of this negative in front of everything, it gives us a flip over the x-axis. So we start at the amplitude, so it would be the negative 2 because of the flip over the x-axis, and the period is till you get to 2 pi over 3. So this is what it all looks like before you have your phase shift and vertical shift. Then what you would do is you would pull all the points off of the graph prior to the phase shift and vertical shift, and it's easiest to put them all down in a line, and then right above it what the phase shift would be, which is a negative pi over 6, and with a vertical shift of negative 1. And so from there you start to just put down what each of those equals after the shifts. So this one would give us negative 4 pi over 6, negative 1. This one would give us negative 3 pi over 6, 1. This one would give us negative 2 pi over 6, negative 1. Then negative pi over 6, negative 3. Then 0, negative 1. Then pi over 6, 1. Then 2 pi over 6, 2 pi over 6, negative 1. Then 3 pi over 6, negative 3. Then 4 pi over 6, negative 1. Then 5 pi over 6, 1. And finally 6 pi or pi over 6, negative 1. Then, because of what we have up here, we're just trying to get the answers between negative pi over 2 to pi, we can go ahead and essentially cross this top one out, because when we go to graph it, that one won't be in our graph because it's over negative pi over 2. So now we go ahead to go graph our points, and we get a graph that looks a lot like this, where compared to the graph above, it's essentially the same thing except it's down 1 and negative pi over 6 to the left.